Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. The Enugu State Police Command busted an armed robbery gang operating in Enugu Metropolis. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered a probe into an accident that claimed the lives of 9 persons in Ojuelegba. On the foreign scene, 8 people killed during a mass shooting at a birthday party in South Africa's Eastern Cape Province. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. The Enugu State Police Command says it has busted an armed robbery gang and arrested 1 suspect identified as Chineye Nwadike. In a statement yesterday, the command spokesman Daniel Ndukwe said that 5 firearms and 374 live ammunition were recovered from the suspect. He disclosed that the suspect was arrested on Friday night by operatives of the command serving in Octopus Squad B when they conducted an intelligence-guided sting operation at Diamond Estate axis of Onitsha Road, Enugu. Mr. Ndukwe noted that the criminal gang had been known to perpetrate heinous crimes within Enugu Metropolis and environs under the nebulous name of unknown gunmen. He revealed that the suspect was a native of Mbaitoli in Imo State, but resident at Indiaga Amechunwane, Enugu, adding that other gang members escaped with bullet wounds during the operation. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has pledged to support the families of slain officers and men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC). 7 personnel of the Corps were ambushed and killed alongside 5 others from sister security agency and local security service on January 9, 2023. Mr. El-Rufai made the pledge when he played host to the Commandant General of NSCDC, Ahmed Aoudi, where he condoled with the agency head on the deaths of the gallant men who died in active service. The governor further expressed satisfaction with the performance of the Corps, especially in the protection of critical assets and infrastructure in the state. In Ondo State, the State Command of the Southwest Security Network Agency, also known as Amoteco, has arrested no fewer than 80 people for allegedly being involved in criminal activities in the state. The State Commander of the Corps, Akogun Adetunji Adeleye, disclosed this to newsmen, stating that the suspects were arrested since the beginning of the year 2023. He revealed that the suspects were arrested at different locations across the 18 local government areas of the state, adding that 32 of the suspects have been charged to court, while investigations are still ongoing on the other cases. In the meantime, 11 people have died in an auto accident in Oretown along the Benin-Shagamu Expressway in Odigbo local government area of Ondo State. It was gathered that the accident involved a Marco Polo luxury bus and a truck. The victims of the accident were said to have been burnt beyond recognition as the vehicles involved caught fire. The Ondo Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Ezekiel Sonala, said the accident occurred as a result of overspeeding on the part of the drivers of the 2 vehicles involved. The FRSC boss advised motorists to avoid overspeeding and always ensure the vehicles are in good condition before embarking on any journey. A 20-feet container has fallen on a commercial bus in the Ojuelegba area of the state, crushing 9 passengers to death. Reports said the commercial bus was picking up passengers at the bus stop along the Ojuelegba bridge when the truck lost control and fell over the side of the bridge. Early responders at the scene of the incident were officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, who suspended the container and cut off the top of the bus to rescue a woman and take her to the trauma center. LASEMA Permanent Secretary Olufemi Oke Osonyitolu said 9 persons died, including 2 children. He said the Nigeria police will conduct further investigation on the removal of the barriers on the bridge aimed at preventing trucks from ascending. Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered a probe into the deaths of 9 persons in the Oju-Elegba area of the state. The victims died on Sunday after a container fell on a bus. Several persons were also injured in the incident, and they are being treated in a hospital. Hours after the mishap, Governor Sanwo-Olu, while condoling with the families of the victims, assured of a thorough investigation into the matter. He stated that the accident will be thoroughly investigated so as to prevent a recurrence of such tragic incidents. He noted that his government is working with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to install vehicle truck barriers on the inward and outward sections of the bridge. To political matters, the Lagos State governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abdulaziz Adediran, has promised to convert street louts popularly known as area boys in the state into positive tools. The candidate, also known as Jandor, disclosed this during the platform debate for Lagos governorship candidate, stating that this will help to improve security around corridors where there are garages and the whole state at large. The PDP candidate also said that he will introduce what he called intelligentsia community policing, which he said will help the government to get information from people from every corner of the state and take action on them to prevent security breakdowns. Also speaking, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Gbadebo Rhodes Viva, promised to provide employability skills to young people to tackle the problem of youth unemployment in the state. Mr. Rhodes Viva said contrary to the notion that unemployed youths are lazy, many of them actually want jobs to earn a decent living.
Revenue that has accrued to the state of Lagos, which is the over 2 million out-of-school children. So when I come into office, is to see how much of these children of ours I can take off the streets. How? I will go into partnership with the registered 5,000 private schools that we have in Lagos State. First, I have to call a meeting and seek for the assistance. Say, you know what, I have some of our children out of school. I want to see how many of them I can spread across your school. I'll give them uniform, give them learning aids, give them anything in exchange for incentives or tax holiday, as the case may be. That would achieve something for us. Secondly, I have to also go into partnership with churches and mosques, and I say, you know what, you have your space that you're not using between the school hours. I have some of my children. Can I take them here? I'll get them somebody who will take care of them, teach them what they need to do. Between that time, pending when I'll then embark on aggressive infrastructural renewal of classrooms across the board and all of that. So if we do this, it will first reduce the number of out-of-school children we have in Lagos without spending fortune. So that one.
We need to train our road enforcement agents, and we also need to ensure that the state sets its clear policy on not accepting the agro system, which has really been a system that has created a lot of bottlenecks and a lot of safety hazards in Lagos State. All of this, you can only enforce where a system is moving smoothly. So I always still focus back on making sure that we have a system that's moving smoothly. We're also going to have digital surveillance all across the state so that we can enforce with evidence. It's not just hearsay anymore. So the enforcement officers that do not step up to their responsibilities can actually be held accountable, and we can hold them to account with evidence. So that's one of the things we're going to do. Another thing that I want to touch on is is the fact that transportation system that we're doing in terms of rail must take into account moving cargo. The fact that we're moving so many containers on the road is damaging our roads and is creating very low life expectancy for the roads we have, and also leading to accidents like what happened today. So we must ensure that our rail development, like the one that's currently on from the port.
Elsewhere, Kano State Governor Umar Ganduje has said the state is now prepared to receive President Muhammadu Buhari just days after advising the president against going ahead with his scheduled visit to the state. The governor made the disclosure to correspondents after he led a delegation of critical stakeholders from the state to meet President Buhari in his country home in Daura, Katsina State yesterday. He said the state is very much ready to receive the president, noting that there is a lot of federal and state government projects for him to commission. Earlier in an interactive session, Mr. Ganduje revealed that his government had requested the president to postpone the trip, stating that the state was deeply concerned about the hardship principally induced by the ongoing cash swap from old to redesigned notes. He said his early decision was taken to avoid any unforeseen circumstance. To help matters, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has called on the federal government, the Nigeria Governors Forum, and People's Democratic Party (PDP) governors across the country to intervene in the failure of the Abia State government to pay doctors in 25 months. This is according to a communique issued at the end of the association's 5-day National Executive Council NEC meeting in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. The association called on well-meaning Nigerians to help point the governor of Abia State to the plight of its members and all healthcare workers in the state-owned teaching hospital who have been owed salary arrears to the tune of 25 months and are still blackmailed by the state government to continue to work. The association also pointed out that doctors in state tertiary health institutions were owed salaries and allowances by governments of Ekiti, Imo, and Ondo states. You are watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
According to the words of Michael Forbes, one who never asks questions either knows everything and nothing. Watch me as I ask the questions you think no one wants to answer. Even questions it appears no one has got the guts to ask. My name is Femi Adifula and I've got the gut. Let's ask the pertinent questions and watch as we get answers.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around here. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
You're welcome back. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has announced the arrest of 5 leaders of a drug syndicate operating in different parts of the world in a special operation that lasted weeks. The operation led to the seizure of different quantities of skunk, methamphetamine, and ephedrine, as well as air compressors used to conceal and distribute the illicit drugs globally. In a statement, the Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, revealed that the cartel leaders were spread across the United Arab Emirates, Benin Republic, Togo, Oman, Thailand, the European continent, and in Anambra, Imo, and Lagos states. Mr. Babafemi said while on Christmas and New Year holidays in various parts of Nigeria, the cartel leaders were still coordinating efforts to send illicit consignments to Dubai and other parts of the world. In business, the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on the redesign of 3 Naira note has rejected the 10-day extension granted by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, for the swap of old 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira banknotes. In a statement yesterday, the chairman of the committee and the majority leader of the House, Al-Hassan Ado Dagua, said the Green Chamber will proceed and sign an arrest warrant to compel the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele to appear before the committee. According to him, the new Naira redesign policy is capable of frustrating the forthcoming 2023 general elections. The CBN had on October 26, 2022, announced its plan to redesign the 3 banknotes. President Muhammadu Buhari subsequently unveiled the redesigned 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira notes on November 23, 2022, while the Apex Bank fixed the January 31 deadline for the validity of the old notes. Still in business, key Libyan political figures have rejected an $8 billion gas production deal overseen by the Tripoli-based Government of National Unity and the Italian government. Rights groups and observers in the country have also criticized memorandums of understanding reached between the 2 governments aiming to crack down Mediterranean migration flows. The energy deal was signed between Libya's National Oil Corporation and Italian energy firm Eni during a visit by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and an accompanying delegation to Tripoli on Saturday, while the memorandums were signed between the 2 countries' foreign ministers. The GNU's oil and gas minister, Mohamed Aoun, spoke to newsmen shortly after the gas deal was signed, calling it illegal and that it lacks equality between the Libyan and Italian sides. He also said his ministry was bypassed on the deal, which he pledged to rectify. The ministry released an official statement yesterday reiterating Mr. Aoun's point, further criticizing the deal for increasing the Italian side's shares from 30% to 37%. Outside Nigeria, 8 people have been killed and 4 others injured during a mass shooting at a birthday party in Gapaha City in South Africa's Eastern Cape Province. 2 unidentified gunmen randomly shot at guests who were dancing and mingling at a house party in Kwazakle Township. Police say no arrests have been made, but a manhunt is underway. Also, those killed and injured have not been identified. However, the Eastern Cape Police Commissioner, Nomsetheleni Lillian Mene, revealed the owner of the attacked house was among them. The police minister and the National Police Commissioner are expected to visit the scene of the Sunday afternoon attack. South Africa has one of the highest gun crime rates in the world, but random mass shootings are uncommon. Last year, the country saw a string of shootings in separate taverns which left more than 20 people dead. Those shootings are still under investigation. To the Russia-Ukraine war, former Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said Vladimir Putin threatened him with a missile strike in an extraordinary phone call in the run-up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The then Prime Minister said Mr. Putin told him it would only take a minute. Mr. Johnson said the comment was made after he warned the war would be an utter catastrophe during a very long call in February 2022. Details of the exchange are revealed in a BBC documentary examining Mr. Putin's interactions with world leaders. Mr. Johnson warned Mr. Putin that invading Ukraine would lead to Western sanctions and more NATO troops on Russia's borders. He also tried to deter Russian military action by telling Mr. Putin that Ukraine would not join NATO for the foreseeable future. Mr. Johnson revealed how Putin threatened him during the call. He, however, said from Putin's relaxed tone, he was just playing along. However, no reference to the exchange appeared in accounts of the call given by both Downing Street and the Kremlin.
You say that Ukraine is not going to join NATO anytime soon. He said it in English, anytime soon. What is anytime soon? And I said, well, it's not going to join NATO for the foreseeable future. You know that perfectly well. Fundamentally, it wasn't about, he threatened me at one point and said, Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile it would only take a minute or something like that, jolly. But I think from the very relaxed tone that he was taking, the sort of air of detachment that he seemed to have, he was just playing along with my attempts to get him to negotiate.
The Secretary General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, has urged South Korea to step up its military support for Ukraine, citing other governments that have changed their policies on exporting weapons to countries in conflict following the Russian invasion. Stoltenberg made the appeal today in the South Korean capital, Seoul. He is in the city on the first leg of an Asia trip that will also include stops in Japan and is aimed at boosting ties with the region's democratic allies in the face of the war in Ukraine and rising competition with China. In meetings with senior South Korean officials, Stoltenberg argued that events in Europe and North America are interconnected with other regions and that the alliance wants to help manage global threats by increasing partnerships in Asia. South Korea is an important global arms exporter and has recently signed deals to sell hundreds of tanks to European countries, including NATO member Poland. But South Korean law bans the export of weapons to countries in active conflict, which Seoul has said makes it difficult to provide arms directly to Kyiv. To sports stories, the technical crew of Kwara United, led by coach Abdulaziz Mohammed, has been given 2-game ultimatum to change the fortunes of the club or be sanctioned. In a message by the media team after yesterday's 3-0 defeat to Enyimba in Aba, General Manager of the club, Bashir Badawi, said that the management would henceforth not tolerate any negative results from the team. The Harmony Boys opened the season with a goalless draw against Gombe United at the Lekon Salami Stadium in Ibadan, another goalless against Shooting Stars Sports Club at the same venue in the second game, before losing by a lone goal to Bendel Insurance FC of Benin. The team will now square up against Aqua United in their adopted home in Ibadan on Wednesday. Chelsea have not given up on trying to sign Enzo Fernandez from Benfica before the window closes on Tuesday. Chelsea have been in talks to sign the Argentina midfielder throughout January, but Benfica have so far refused to do business unless Chelsea pay the €120 million release clause. Chelsea have offered players on loan and on permanent deals, but Benfica have so far refused to accept anything except the release clause. Fernandez wants to move to Chelsea, but he has been training and playing since he was dropped for one game for going on an authorized trip home to Argentina for a New Year's Eve party. He, however, played in yesterday's 3-0 win at Santa Clara. Chelsea have also tried to sign Brighton's Moises Caicedo and Everton's Amado Onana this month to help bolster their midfield options. And before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. The Enugu State Police Command says it has busted an armed robbery gang and arrested one suspect identified as Chineye Nwadike. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered a probe into the deaths of 9 persons in the Oju-Elegba area of the state. On the foreign scene, we brought you news that 8 people have been killed and 4 others injured during a mass shooting at a birthday party in Gqeberha City in South Africa's Eastern Cape Province. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Damilola Raphael. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.